Welcome back, my duelist friends. Casual Duelist here. It's Thursday. That means it's time for the not-so-budgeted version of an Albaz deck. And I want to say that I did enough techie things in here to charm and amuse and probably get you guys started. So let's see how I did. So just real quick, let's go over the list. Let's get back to the traditional style. I did it the other way. I didn't enjoy that. Let me do it the way I'm known for. So real quick, I'm going to run a single copy of Albion this time. Nothing against him, not using extravagance this time around. Just when you have an entire collection behind you, it was harder to justify more than one. A copy of Dark Magician, so I think you guys know the Dragoon is coming. I'm going to have 3 copies of Effect Veiler, and again, we went ahead and rarity bumped that, as well as we did the Albion, mostly for the looks, and also to differentiate that these are not the same cards that were in the structure deck. We're going to use them for much the same reason. It's a great hand trap, and we definitely need lights in this deck, because it's too easy to put too many darks in, and that would cripple our extra deck. So there is that. You're going to need 3 copies Fallen of Albaz. He is still our special boy. We are still going to run for him. And we're going to play him a little differently this time around. We are going to use 2 copies Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit because, again, still really good. Still a light. Very important. We're going to go to 2 copies Keeper of Dragon Magic. I love this card, actually. The more I got to play it with the budget build, the more I remembered why it was such a good card. So I went ahead, I dusted these ones off. We added these to the deck. It's time for the single copy Red Eyes. 3 copies of Spriggan's Kit, because again, the extension, the summoning, the searching, this is all stuff that we do need. I upped my Kaiju up to 2, so now I'm running 2 copies of the Thunder King Lightning Strike. And again, we can use this. We can use this on our opponent. We can summon the Fallen of Albaz afterward, whatever we want to do. It works out pretty well. And in the last monster card, I'm going to run a playset of the Tri-Brigade Mercurier. And again, it's just, there's another in-house hand trap. And it seems a shame not to be utilizing this. So real quick, let me move those. This way that you guys can go ahead and take a screenshot if you like, or maybe just pause the video, take your notes. This way you know what was in the deck. Just real quick, I'm going to go ahead and clean the field for you. All right, and we're back, and it's time to go over the spells now. Again, the spells are, for the most part, pretty self-explanatory. There's a couple that weren't included in the structure deck, and it's going to bring some value into the deck before we break the value by going to the extra deck. So, real quick, you want to prioritize the 3 copies of Branded Fusion. It's going to be your go-to. I'm still using the single copy Branded in white because it's just brilliant. I'm still running 2 copies Branded Lost because, again, I love the protection. I love the searching. This time round, I'm going to be adding 3 copies of Fusion Deployment. Just like the overview of why this is so good. With Fusion Deployment, you're able to reveal a Fusion monster and then special summon a card that is part of the recipe. And special summoning is how we actually kick off Fallen of Albaz effect. So not only can we board him whenever we choose, we could do so with this beautiful ultra rare. I would have done it with a secret rare, but I only had the 1 copy, so we went ultras. Doesn't matter. That's fine. Single copy Gold Sarko. Again, pretty sure this is on the limit list. So until that happens, we can't add more. But it is good that we offset the Mercurier to Gold Sark ratio. You always want to have more targets than you do the retrieval spells. And again, this will help us kick off like the 1 in 20 chance of actually getting that to resolve. Another cool card is the Mask Change 2. Again, Darklaw, even in a mirror match, can actually affect our opponent enough to where we can just freely walk through, and I do believe this will interrupt things like Imperm, so that's kind of cool. We do want to run a single Monster Reborn. It's just really good. You are going to want a Red Eyes Fusion because, again, we are going to attempt to play Dragoons in here as well. 3 Super Polys because, again, not everything in our extra deck is just, Branded or Albaz or whatever. So, again, we do have some options that are for this as well. We do run a single Upstart Goblin. And then for our traps, we're going to push this deck past 40. We're going to go to 41 cards today. We are going to run 2 copies of the branded Retribution. Good counter effect, as well as a recycling effect for our branded spells. So that is all good. Go ahead, take a picture, do the screenshot, pause us. Go ahead, write down what you see here. And I will go ahead and clean up the field one more time. And we'll go ahead and grab the extra deck, all right? All right. All right, now the extra deck is probably one of my favorite spots about this. And it's because we get to kind of sort of jump around and we get to pick and choose what we need to go to. And again, since like we're not doing the budget build again, we're not focusing on extravagance. We don't have to run 3s of. So the most important things will get ran at 2. So real quick, that's going to be Albion, the branded at 2. We're going to play single copy of Brigand. We are going to play 2 copies of Lobelian. We are going to grab 2 copies of Dark Law. Now again, this is important because this way the spell doesn't actively end up being dead in hand with the second mask change. But additionally, they might out him the first time, and that may have been a good important part of your control. And again, it's very easy to just swap the mask changes out when you go to sideboard. So again, I went ahead and I matched this time. 2 copies Mirror Jade, 1 copy Mud Dragon, 1 copy Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, 1 Sprind, the Iron Dash, 1 copy Starving Venom, 1 Titaniclad, and in order to sort of make the Dragoon happen as fast as possible, a single Verdi Anaconda. So that is going to be your 15-card extra deck to go along with a 41-card main deck. This is what I've been playing. I've been enjoying it. I may actually sub out the Dark Magician Red Eyes Dragoon support, which would free up 2 more spots in my extra deck, at which point I might just add a couple more Super Poly targets very generically, and then just change some stuff around in the main deck. You guys let me know if you liked this. If you guys did enjoy it, you guys want to support the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you guys have already done that, consider hitting the notification bell as well. And if you were just here for the list, thank you for stopping by, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Everybody else, you know the rhythm here. We are going to go over every effect in the deck, and then we'll do some test hands tomorrow. So real quick, let's start back at the base of the main deck with Albion himself, the Shrouded Dragon. Does become Fallen of Albaz on field/grave. If is in hand or grave, you can send 1 Fallen Albaz or branded spell trap from hand or deck to the graveyard. Apply the following effect based on where you sent it from. If you send a card from the hand, then you may special summon Albion. If you send it from the deck, you may place Albion at the bottom of your deck to draw 1 card. So he's not bad. Kind of a boss monster. 8-star, 2,500. Kind of edges out Dark Magician just a tiny bit. But it is what it is. And again, 1 seems to be the most consistent number here right now. Dark Magician for Dragoon. Effect Veiler for our light when we want to go into the branded dragon, as well as being an all-star hand trap. And note that it's only during your opponent's main phase. Fallen of Albaz is our special boy. When normal or special summoned except during damage step, you may discard a card to fusion summon a fusion monster from the extra deck, targeting cards on either side of the field, including this one, but you cannot use other monsters you control as the materials. So he's going to be super poly. He's going to combine with 1 monster on the opponent's side of the field, and he's going to tag off. It's going to be amazing. And again, it's only going to cost you 1 card / a summon. Ghost Ogre, we kept this at 2. Again, if we did bump out the Dragoon support, you could bump this one back up to 3 and still have room for 1 more card. Again, it's just a brilliant effect. When a monster on the field activates its effect, or when a spell or trap card that is already face up on the field activates its effect. As a quick effect, you send this from the hand or the field to the graveyard to destroy the card on the field. And again, you can only use these effects once per turn. Very good. Keeper of the Dragon Magic. Again, I love this one as a starter. Just to start my plays, if this is normal or special summon, you can discard a card, add a polymerization normal spell, or a fusion normal spell card from the deck to the hand. Additional effect, you can reveal one fusion monster in the extra deck, special summon a fusion material whose name is specifically listed on that card from your graveyard in the face down defense position. Now, mind you, Albion will be able to count as Fallen of Albaz in the discard pile, but when you go to fuse with him, even though he's on the field, he is not face up, you will need to put him face up for him to count as Fallen of Albaz. That is very important. Trust me, that is going to be a thing. But you can bring him back if you want to. But this is a great way to get Fallen of Albaz back. You can use each effect once per turn. You cannot special summon from the extra deck, except for fusion monsters the turn that you use either of these effects. Again, the only one time that this is going to affect us is if we go for Dragoon and we use the Verde Anaconda to do it. Otherwise, we should have a positive interaction. We still have the Red Eyes Black Dragon in here, yes. Spriggan's Kit. If I have a fusion monster that mentions Albaz as material either on the field or in my discard pile, then I may special summon this card from my hand. When this one is normal or special summoned, I can add to my hand one branded spell or trap that is banished, or my graveyard or my deck to my hand. So again, it'll tutor a spell from anywhere, or the trap, because I am running the trap today. But this is a great way to get our fusion spell. Or if you already have your fusion spell, go ahead and grab the branded Lost. This way you got the protection. Very good. Anyway, you can add that to your hand, and then you have to place one card from your hand to the bottom of your deck, which is totally fine. Each effect of this is once per turn. And then we have Thunder King. Again, you just need to know that you can kaiju your opponent. You're going to either fuse with this thing, or you're going to fuse with this thing. Or you're going to send it out of your own deck to fuse with this thing. But one way or another, or the same way, you are going to use it, and it is going to be a light, so you got a couple extra lights in your deck. And then if you do bring it back with Monster Reborn, holy crud, you got a 3,300 point triple-headed Thunder monster on your side of the field, so that'll be cool too. Tri-Brigade Mercurier, this is one of my favorites. When your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a fusion monster that mentions Albaz as material, as a quick effect, you can send this from the hand or face up on the field to the graveyard to negate the effect. If at any time this card is banished, you can add from your deck to your hand one Fallen of Albaz or one monster that mentions it, except Tri-Brigade Mercurier. Each effect is once per turn. And again, this is why I do carry the one Gold Sarcophagus. It's just real nice. I can go ahead, I can just immediately banish this guy and just start off on the search. It's very nice. The Branded Fusion is our new fusion spell. Fusion summon a fusion monster that mentions Albaz as material, using two monsters from hand, deck, or field as material. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion the turn you activate this, and you may only activate one of these per turn. So again, do keep in mind, Predator and Verde Anaconda can use this. It will be an effect, since it isn't a card being activated, it is an effect being activated. You can have Verde Anaconda use a branded fusion as effect, and then still activate one. That is something that is very possible in this build. Banned in White, still acting as an additional fusion spell. Fusion summon one from the extra deck using monsters from hand and field, including a dragon. You can also banish monsters from the graveyard as material as long as one of those is Fallen of Albaz. And if Albaz is one of the ones that you do, you may do both from there. And during the end of the turn, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there to activate the effect of Fallen of Albaz this turn, you may then set this card from the discard pile. You can only use each effect once per turn, and it is awesome. Branded Lost, still putting in massive amounts of work. The activation of your cards and effects that include the effect of fusion summons a fusion monster cannot be negated. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when a monster is fusion summoned this way. Additionally, if you fusion summon a fusion monster, you can then add one Fallen of Albaz or a monster that mentions it from deck to hand. Again, this allows me to get more copies of my Mercurier, and then I'll just sit behind a bunch of hand traps plus counter monsters. And since it's just a fusion summon, we can do this after we play Dragoon too. Dragoon can still get us that search, which is amazing. The fusion deployment, Reveal a fusion monster in the extra deck. Special summon from the hand or deck one material whose name is specifically listed on it. You may not special summon from the extra deck except fusion monsters the remainder of the turn. And you may only activate one fusion deployment per turn, which is totally fine. Plus, we do have ways of sending them back into the deck. I want to say that's Lobelia. Or did I say that wrong? Lubellian. Lubelia. I'm thinking about Oron High Host Club. I'm sorry, guys. Gold Sarko, banish a card from your deck face up. During the second standby phase afterward, get it back to your hand. Do it for Mercuria, get your search. Double Mask Change 2, discard a card, target a face-up monster you control that has a level. Send it to the graveyard after that. If it left the field by this effect, special summon from the extra deck a masked hero with the same attribute but a higher level than the original attribute level of the monster that it was on the field. Blah, 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 face down, whatever. This special summon is treated as a special summon with mask change. You can only activate one mask change 2 per turn. And this is because of the way that the masked heroes are written, is that they can only be played with mask change. So mask change 2 wants to make sure that it matches up on text for you. And again, since our boy Darklaw is what, a 6, we just need to make sure that it's going to be a 5-star or less. This makes Albion, Dark Magician, Red Eyes Black Dragon, and maybe somebody else illegal targets. Not just those ones. So everybody else would be a legal target as long as they were Dark Attribute in this build today. So very good. Monster Reborn, just go ahead and extend. Red Eyes Fusion, Fusion Summon 1 Fusion Monster list. Red Eyes as material from the extra deck using cards from hand, deck, or field. If you do, name becomes Red Eyes. You cannot normal or special summon other monsters the turn you activate this card. You can only activate one of these per turn. Again, if you draw this after you've already set up, it's fine. Abandon playing for the Predaplant. But if you do get the Predaplant, the reason it works is because the Predaplant is using the effect of the card and you didn't actually activate the card. That's how you get all those other summons. Super Poly, discard a card, use cards on the field for a fusion. Nothing can respond to this activation. So again, this is going to be just sort of like insurance policy is the best way to describe it. Upstart Goblin. Again, if you guys don't want to play this at 41, you could just drop this easily, and that would be fine. But it's just to get you that extra 1 card. And then the 2 copies branded Retribution. When a spell trap or monster effect activates that includes the effect to summon monster or monsters, return to the extra deck 1 face-up fusion monster you control or 2 fusion monsters that are in the graveyard that mention Albaz as material. If you do negate the activation, destroy the card. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 branded spell or trap that's in the graveyard except same name, add that to your hand, and you can only use 1 effect per turn and only once that turn. So you can't negate and banish in the same turn. That's just not going to work out for you. Moving over to the extra deck, as it is the most fun portion, we do have 2 copies Albion the branded. This is going to be Albaz plus Light. If this is Fusion Summon, you can Fusion Summon a level 8 or lower Fusion Monster from the extra deck except Albion by banishing materials from hand, field, and grave. During the end phase, if this is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can then add to your hand add to your hand or set 1 branded spell or trap directly from your deck. Each effect once per turn. And again, he tends to be my first. I go into him, then I play more cards. It's awesome. Brigand, he's a good one-of. This will be Albaz plus level 8. Cannot be destroyed by battle, which is very good. While you control this fusion summon card, your opponent cannot target other monsters you control with monster effects. And this is going to give you some partial protection there. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add to your hand or special summon 1 Tri-Brigade or Fallen of Albaz from your deck. Lubellian is going to be Dark in Albaz. If this is Fusion Summon, you can discard 1 card, Fusion Summon a level 8 or lower fusion from your extra deck, except Searing Dragon, by shuffling the materials from the field, grave, and or banished back into the deck. For the rest of this turn, this card cannot attack. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except Fusion. You can only use this effect once per turn, and that's fine. So we can build up an amount of dragons that are large. and this is be something that you could do right off of Albion to Lubellion. I did show that in the budget build, and we can still do that here. Again, Dark Law real quick is just mask change with any dark attribute. Cannot be special summoned by any other ways, which is again why it needed to specify mask change, which is why I got caught off guard. I'd never really read it out loud before. Any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. This is just the opponent's graveyard. Yours is fine. And this will change the way your opponent plays, I promise you. Once per turn, if your opponent adds a card or cards from the deck to the hand, except during the draw phase or their damage step, you can banish a random card in their hand. So again, tutoring is going to be a lot harder against Dark Law. Additionally, it's going to be a lot harder to utilize their graveyard because it's going to be redirected. We are going to be using the 2 copies Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade. This will be Albaz +1 Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link. You can only control one of these at a time. Once per turn as a quick effect, you can send a fusion from the extra deck to the graveyard that mentions Albaz as material to banish one monster on the field. This card cannot use this effect the next turn. So again, kind of fair. If this fusion summon card is in its owner's control, leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls during the end phase of this turn. So again, very, very useful effect there. Mud Dragon is just one of our mindless super poly targets. No better way to explain them. Dragoon, again, standing here as one of those big boss monsters that we added to the deck. Sprint is going to be Albaz plus an effect monster special summon this turn. So again, you can Kaiju and then play Deployment to just go ahead and get Sprint onto the field if you wanted to. During the main phase, you can move this to another main zone that you control, then destroy all face-up cards in the cards column. During the end phase, if it was in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add to your hand or special summon 1 Spriggan or Fallen of Albaz from your own deck. Each effect once per turn. Starving Venom here for the Super Poly Trap on Darks. Titaniclad. Albaz plus monster at 2,500 or more. Again, this is a good reason to knock him to 1. Gain attack equal to the combined original level of the monsters used for fusion times 100. After this card is fusion summoned for the rest of this turn, it is unaffected by activated effects of any monsters special summoned from the extra deck. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add to your hand or special summon 1 Dogmatica or Fallen of Albaz from your deck. Each effect once per turn. And last up, just the Verde Anaconda. It's the only link I needed to run today. Just any 2 effect monsters happens pretty rapidly, actually. And you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, turn it to dark. You pay 2k to send 1 fusion or polymerization, normal or quick play from the deck to the graveyard. This effect becomes that spell's effect when the card is activated. And you cannot special summon monsters for the remainder of this turn. You can only use each effect of Verde Anaconda once per turn. So very cool, very fair. There's going to be some situations where you just won't play it. And again, don't worry about it. If you don't play it, any of the cards used for the Verde Anaconda can be discarded for Fallen of Albaz. It's sort of like a built-in failsafe for it. I do hope that you guys did enjoy this. I think I'm going to just talk over the combos again tomorrow. I kind of like the way that flowed more than me messing up test hands and trying to feel cool and retaping it 5 times to get a good hand. That was more enjoyable what we did earlier this week. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again tomorrow. You guys do me one favor. Have a wonderful day. I hope to see you next time. Later, my friends.